Hello everyone, I'm Suman. So in this video we're gonna discuss different ways through which we can just create data frames. So we have already discussed about data frame and how to manipulate data using data frame. So if you didn't watch that video, I will just give you that in the description. And so now let's understand what are the different ways to create a data frame. The most common method which we're gonna use is in the last video also we have discussed by reading the files using the read underscore functions which we have using pandas. So first I'm just importing. So I've just imported both pandas and numpy, and in the previous video itself we have just discussed how to read the files using the read underscore function which we have in pandas, like the read underscore csv, read underscore, right? So I'll just show you. So here you can see the read underscore csv, read underscore excel. So we have already discussed, like I have already created a complete video on that. So this is the most commonly method which we're gonna use while creating a data frame. And apart from this, like apart from reading the files, apart from reading the files, there are some other ways through which we can just create data frame. So let's discuss those. So before starting this, let's just revise what is data frame. So this data frame is a two-dimensional data structure, like we have both rows and columns, so through which we can just manipulate the data. Now let's go and discuss the other important methods through which we can just create data frames. So for that, the first one is like by using the nested list. So if I just create nested list here, so I will just create like max and 98. Similarly, I will just create so I just created, you can see here I've just created a nested list here. So from this we can just create data frame. So I will just give enter, and here I will just use pd dot data frame of EA. So if I just give enter, so you can see it just taken, so you can see it just created 3 rows and 2 columns, right? So you can see it just created 3 rows and 2 columns. And in this nested list, if you just create a data frame using nested list, the number of nested lists we have, it will be the equal to the number of rows, and a number of elements in each nested list will become number of columns. So you can see in each nested list we have like 2 values. So you can see we just have 2 columns, and the number of nested list is 3. So we have 3 rows, right? So I hope you understood like how to create a data frame using this nested list. So if you want to, so you can see here it just taken the default, the name of the columns as default names like 0 and 1. So if you want to create, if you want to add your own column names, so even in this data frame you have an argument, like you can just give an argument like, so we have another we have an argument like columns. So I'm just giving columns equal to, and I will just create like subject and marks, right? If I just give enter now you can see it just added the column names which I have specified in this column arguments, right? So that's how you can just create a data frame using the nested list, and that's how you can just mention like that's how you can mention the column names using the columns argument. So this is one way, and the other way you can just create is using the dictionaries, right? So I will just create a dictionary here. So you can see I just created a dictionary, and I just mentioned the key value pairs, the key as subject, so and the keys as subjects and marks, and the values as the, I've just given the list of values. So you can see I just meant these keys are the column names and these are the values, right? So you can see I just mentioned as a key value pair, and if I just try to run this, and I will just copy the code which I have just used previously. and I will just remove the columns here. So if you just enter, you can see we just got the data frame from this dictionary, right? So even this is another method through which you can just create a data frame. And I just forgot to mention, it means like here we just given the column names, right? Similarly, if you want to give your own row names, so you can see we just have 0, 1, 2, right? So in the previous case we just mentioned the columns argument and just mentioned the name of the columns. So if you want to change the name of the rows also, so for that we can just have another argument like index equal to. So even I can just change the values, right? So I will just give I just given row 1, row 2, row 3. You just give enter. You can see I just changed the name of the rows, right? So you can just use this index argument to change the name of the rows. So this is how you can just create a data frame using these dictionaries. And the next method is like, so here you can see we just used dictionary and we have just given the values inside a list. So similarly you can just use in an opposite manner. So here you can see we just mentioned the nested list, right? So instead of mentioning nested list, we can just mention the dictionaries inside a list. So let's understand how to create that. So I'll just create an list here, and inside the list I will just create dictionaries. And similarly you can just mention, right? I can just mention so here you can see I just mentioned a list, and inside the list I just mentioned the each row, right? I just mentioned each row as a dictionary. I just pass it as an each row as a dictionary. You can see subject maths and marks 98. I just mentioned the first row, and similarly second row, third row. That's how I just mentioned here using the list and dictionary. So in the previous case you can just see I just passed the column name and all the values inside that column, and you can see the marks column, and I just mentioned all the values inside that. But here you can just see I just mentioned in a different way. I just mentioned each row as an input, I just passed each row as a dictionary format. So that's how you can just create here data frame. And if I just give pd data frame of, so you can see I just got the data frame, right? I just got the data frame as subjects and marks. So you can see we just got the data frame similar to that of this. So this is another method through which you can just create data frame, right? So apart from this, so up to now we just use lists, right? So if you want to, like, even this is a list is a one type of data structure. So similarly you can just create data frames using the, instead of a list you can just use tuples also, right? So you can just use nested tuples, and you can just mention the nested, like you can just use a list with tuples, and you can just use dictionaries with tuples. So these are the possible combinations you can just use and create a data frame. So I will just I will just give you one example using tuples. So here you can see so you can see even using tuples I just created the data frame, right? So you can just try, like you can just try the different combinations like dictionary, list, tuples, like you can just try these combinations. So these are the possible ways apart from reading the file directly using the read underscore functions present in pandas. So apart from those functions, if you want to create data frame by your own, so you can just follow these methods through which you can just create data frames. So that's it for this video. I hope this video is helpful for you, and if you understood the video, like the video, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.